This episode of Ticket Volume is brought to you by us, Invigate. Get service operations under control in no time. Get 1 free month of our software solution by going to try.invigate.com. Ticket Volume is delighted to bring you an ITSM expert and author currently serving as the Director of IT Service Management at a not-for-profit financial cooperative. He has a rich history of system and service experiences at companies like Sabre, American Airlines, American Express, and Citi, to name a few. Welcome to Ticket Volume, news and information for improving IT experiences. I'm your host, Matt Barron, and I get to chat with different leaders to share insights on service management, technology, and business, and this episode is going to be more of the same. I hope you're having a great day. I also hope that you leave a comment, connect with us, or share our podcast with someone. Get involved, get us better, get us improving. Now, let's begin. Welcome to Ticket Volume, Waseem Ahmed.
Thank you, Matt. Pleasure to be on. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for taking the time to be here. You've been sharing a ton. I say this to a lot of guests because I see what people are doing online and my head either explodes or I just get more curious and I want to selfishly ask you questions about it. And some of the content that you've been sharing recently has totally inspired me. And so what I want to do is talk specifically about value stream mapping, or VSM. You've shared recently a lot about them, some of the specific details around value streams. Why do you think that they're becoming popular now?
Yeah, so they started a long time ago, right? And I think they're becoming more popular now because of a lot of factors involved, right? One of them has to be the increase visibility of corporate organization, their productivity and how they work. So that's one, and then two, we're just becoming more complex, and we need more more visibility on things that's going on, and we need more values off of those. Then we've got from complexity perspective, we've got interconnected processes, and then we also got global, what do you call that? The supply chain, right? So we are at this point, a lot of organizations, they are realizing the value too. They're trying to understand and things like that. So I think that's some of the things I can think of at this point. Why are they becoming more popular? Just a couple of points here. Yeah.
I love that you brought up supply chain, because when I think about value streams, that's kind of what I think about. It's the virtual or the non-tangible version of value streams,
Right.
of supply chains.
Exactly. Right.
And I also like that you pointed out they've been around for a long time. I think I want to say that it's around the 20s or 30s where they started to really get popular
Wrong.
with
Yeah.
Toyota.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Right. Initially, of course, manufacturing, right? And sorry, that's another reason too, that there's becoming more popular because cross industry, right? So it was manufacturing before. Now we're getting into different industries, trying to adapt those, and then also as I can think of more, where we're talking is the adoption of agile methodologies and lean principles and things like that, right? So they include value stream, and as more and more people are adapting those, you see a lot of companies or organizations or individuals trying to adapt the value stream mapping. So that's one of the reasons too.
Yeah, I like that. It when I look at value streams, because I've Googled this, of course, you see those maps and it's clear that it's about supply chain, right? Like
Right.
we get the widget, we work on it, we ship it, we store it, we ship it again.
Exactly.
So value streams for process and value streams for IT services look different, right?
Yep.
What do you think, like when someone is starting on a visual stream or a value stream objective, where do they start? How do you begin?
Yeah. So for IT, so I want to mention ITIL 4. It brought up one of the heart of ITIL is the service value system. Within there, you've got the sort of service value service value system, and then you've got service value chains, and then you got service you got value streams. So and all that. So it's kind of pretty related. I prefer introduce that concept there in there, just because it's very essential. And then I think that they did a great job by doing that. So when we go to IT, from that perspective, you look at the practices, you look at the value streams, what you've got, and then you see end to end. What are you doing? For example, in one of my articles, the one I shared, or I think posted was shared on LinkedIn, was about this service design and how do you use a value stream against that. That was just kind of a sample, but that's an example right there. That I introduced, or not introduced, but I kind of talked about the time it takes, and then the steps that we need, in the service design process, and also what are all our added value, and then what is our waste there. So so if you talk about service design, you try to design service, and then one of your audience or your customers, or they want a something designed. They will go through request, and request is going to go through, and then it's going to go through different phases. And, at the end, of course, what you're going to get is a value, which is basically design, product or service. It could be anything within IT. It could be a application or a service, or, so from that perspective, you will see, what's taking a lot of time, right? Is it in the service request area, or is it in the transit, or is it in the requirement gathering? So couple of things I mentioned in my article over there was that for example, if you're taking a service request, if it's taking like about an hour and a half or something like that, and I find out that this 1 hour does not need to be in there, because within service request, we gotta find out where are we losing time, where is the value getting generated. Do we really need that an hour? Can we do it in half an hour? So those are the things we can look at. You have to break down the service from end to end, and then see, where you're wasting time, and where do you need to cut down on time, where do you need to, anything that's not generating value, it's waste, right? And that's one of the agile or lean, I will say, practices as well. That when it's based on if anything is waste, let it go, right? We don't need that. So yeah.
Yeah, I love this, because this is the details. These are the aspects of continual improvement and service design, service delivery, that
Right.
really make a difference.
Yep.
On your delivery teams, asking them and understanding how we do the work can really help improve not only the delivery of the services, but the experience then, right? Because your service levels can improve,
Mhm.
your delivery times start to improve. And I really like that you pointed out that it begins in the service design phase.
Right.
When we're thinking about adding a new service, or even an existing
Yeah.
service, like that's the opportunity to do this sort of thing, to understand where's the wait time, can we reduce it, and maybe you can't,
Yeah.
right? Maybe because there's an amount of waste that you can't get around.
Right.
Maybe it's just availability of service providers, or
Mhm.
availability of the people doing the work.
Interdependencies and things like that, right? Yep. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, I did a presentation recently about visualizing work, and this is one of those things that you need to really understand those interdependencies, like
Right.
you pointed out.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, and I also, like, from your article, you did share some really, I love those tables. I'm a I'm a geek and a nerd about that kind of stuff. And it really just points out, like, here are your process steps, here's the time that each one takes,
Right.
and then understanding the value moments in
Exactly.
those
Right.
steps. That's kind of hard to visualize. So hopefully you go on LinkedIn and search up Waseem, find his articles, and share them. Otherwise, I'll reshare them on my LinkedIn. So connect with us. And so once you've sort of started the value stream mapping process, and you have those charts and you've got a visual representation of how service is being delivered, what do you do with it?
So you try to kind of identify those ways and all that, right? And you've got this, very street map, and you try to, see, okay, well, okay, where can, because the whole idea is to continuously improve. You can never be perfect, right? So you gotta continuously improve. Some people call it maturity, and that's good too. But I think that you can be maturing. I think and I think it's supposed to be continuously improving. So I think that that's what you do. You can keep on going back to this the whole life cycle, right? You keep on going back and then say, okay, well now where are the ways? And then because over time technology changes, right? Over time people change, and process kind of change, and so you got to keep on observing all people, process, technology, and then make sure that where can you where can you where can you eliminate the waste and add value. So it's I think the keyword we're looking for is a continual improvement.
Yeah, exactly. But you brought up another good point. Not only is it continual improvement, but not letting the entropy sneak in, not letting us devolve,
Right.
de-evolve,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's going to happen. Stuff changes,
Yep.
and we lose track of it. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, someone does the same thing 1,000 times a day. Eventually, they're like, "Okay, I'm going to skip this part."
Exactly, right. So it's you just got to make sure that you've got a good process around it, right? And if we go back to process, a good process is which is continuously or every time you do it is going to produce the same result. Sometimes for any number of factors, you don't have a process which is mature, so yeah, let's make sure it's mature. You're producing results every time you do it, same steps and same end results and same value you're getting out of it. Just keep on continuously working on it. Basically, that's what the goal is.
Yes. Okay. Another article that you shared recently that really got my brain moving was the process tables.
Within
I think you were mapping basically like one idea with another, like
integration, yeah.
DevOps with ITIL 4
Oh,
and
unifying
COPA.
exactly. Yes, yes. I remember that article. So I love that to integrate different methodologies and frameworks and all that, but keeping the overarch from governance and compliance perspective, and then within that, so you've got an overarching governance and compliance, and underneath you've got all those methodologies and frameworks and all that, right? ITIL came, way before, right? And then now you've got Agile, right? And you've got all these, and DevOps came, and SRE and all that, right? So they came very very late, but ITIL has been doing that for some time. So, but then again, there's some difference there, and it's ITIL is a framework, and these are methodologies, and it's good to have, and that's another thing. Good thing ITIL 4 did that, it integrated and it gave us, I would say, a framework that integrates or talks to DevOps and SREs and all the other frameworks and methodologies and lean methodology that exist. So yeah, I'm just fanatic about that. I love that idea.
Yeah. Take what works and leave what doesn't.
Exactly, right. Because there are a lot of challenges in organizations, and most of the time, what I see pain is that people would use their own homegrown ideas, and then maybe reading a few articles on Google, and probably like talking to some of their peers, and not really understanding the methodology or framework, and then thinking that that's what it is, and
Mm.
and one of the things I keep on finding amazing, and I talk with some of the other idle experts out there, right, and authors, and one of the things we agree on and is that there's a lot of certifications out there, but not really good people who know how exactly to do it. Yeah. So
Mm.
so you see a lot of certifications growing, and the impact of the organization is about the maybe same. I don't know, but it's kind of an interesting fact. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally get it. Right. There's what do I want to say? The the educational aspect of it, the knowing aspect, yes, that's important. But then how do we
People
apply
who
it?
can implication of, yeah, I think that's what I'm looking for, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, people are looking for the easy button because you're right. There's pain out there.
Yep.
And there is no like prescribed prescription where you can just say, boom, buy this thing, it'll fix all your problems.
Right.
It really is about like understanding your organization and adapting all the ideas out there to use what works.
Yep, exactly. And the other thing I was I continuously keep on finding in my experiences, organizations keep on emphasizing on tools. They start every time with a tool, and they blame the tool. The tool is not doing it, but they don't step back and understand it's not the tool. You don't start from the tool. So it's literally everywhere. I've been, maybe with the exception of a couple of organizations, there's always this thing that we're just blaming a tool.
Yeah, better to start with understanding how the work
Okay.
is being done
Yep.
and then move towards the tool and don't go too fast.
Right. Right. Exactly. And that's why in my that article you mentioned, in where I kind of talked about ITIL and DevOps and COVID and SRE. Where basically I'm talking about we should have an overarch governance and compliance, which is COVID, and then we take ITIL as an overarching, and then we combine the DevOps and combines SREs practices within there, and we come up with the robust framework for the organization, which is basically we already done, because COVID's got, if you look at governance, all the control objectives, and end to end, right? And so
Mhm.
and then that will drive everything within your organization. ITEL, and I would drive the along with the methodologies with SRE and DevOps. So you can do a lot there. I don't know if I've seen many companies doing that. I think it's just um, but I think that's the way it's supposed to be. That's
Yeah.
that's what I thought about it a lot, and I was like, you know what? Not a lot of people, organizations are doing it. So I thought that let's just put it out there, and see what the reaction is. So I'm glad that you noticed that. So
Yeah, yeah. You don't want to do a spray and pray kind of application like,
right,
I'm going to take all these medications and one of them
right,
is going to work.
exactly, exactly.
You really do need to think holistically. And you brought to point a mind, you brought to my mind a point that several of my guests have been making, that it, it's not, it's never just ITIL.
No,
It's never just COVID. It's never just DevOps.
yeah,
It's all of them at differing layers
yeah.
of the organization.
Exactly. Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, and to your point, I think so. It's gonna be, something has to be overarching, right? Something has to be driving all that, right? So, and
Mhm.
one of the things I saw missing in organizations is SMO, which is Service Management Organization, right? We talk about PMOs, Project Management Organization, and everybody very well understand that, but nobody, right? I don't know if I've seen anybody, having an SMO and driving the whole a service management, right? So that's another thing I mentioned in my article there, that that is key. It's an essential part. Something has to be. You can't just take bits and pieces. Some organizations think about that incident and problem management is service management, and I just keep on like, no, this is not. It's not incident problem management. And they think that incident problem should be done with the same team as well. If they're not truly separate, and like, no, that's another no. like,
Yeah.
so there's a lot out there, and I think that I hope people find that interesting.
Yeah, exactly. I really feel like you've hit the nail on the head there. That is something that we've forgotten over the last 5 years. We definitely saw it in the early 2000s, where they had process teams. They had people that were focused on improving specific processes and working together to keep those interlinks together and tight and useful.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's not just incident problem change. It's so easy to just get lost in the again, that's almost like jumping towards the tool.
Yeah.
The real value is in that continual service improvement,
Exactly.
in service management. And
Ex-
so let's talk about that just real quickly, because your role, director of IT service management, does that mean that you have a service management organization, or is it a one-man shop? What's your situation like?
So yeah, it's not really a one man shop. We've got, I've got the whole team, and I also have actually a platform, ServiceNow platform, ITSM tool we use. So I've got pretty much everything what I need to do for my organization to reach that level. So I'm blessed to have that. And I think that that's a key, right? I mean, some organization you don't have a control over tool, but you have really good processes. But when it comes to enhance the tool for what you want to measure, you can't really do that because probably the tool team does not agree with you on that because sometimes they will go back and say no, it's going to create a lot of customization. We don't want to do that, but they don't understand the value. And an example I can give you is the if you're doing incident management, and MTTR is so important within an incident management. Not a lot of tools. I've been mostly working with ServiceNow, and there are some other tools, of course, out there as well, Freshworks and all the other ones, and some of the are some of the other ones. But as far as I know, that these things do not come built in. Like for example, if you want to measure an MTTR, like end-to-end MTTR for an incident, right? Like for example, time to detect, time to escalate, time to restore, and things like that, right? You won't have that, so you have to sometime go into the tool, enhance that, and sometime might come with that, but I have not seen them, so you have to go enhance those tools. So those are things, some of the things I guess people or organizations, they don't understand that either. They just look at maybe overall incident resolution. We resolve the incident in 2 hours or 4 hours, or maybe X% of the time we did not meet our goal.
Yes.
So, but then again, if you don't have that MTTR, you're not measuring that maybe that X number of time you exceeded that SLA goal. What went wrong? Did it not
Mm-hmm.
join the call, rich call in a timely manner, or do you have vendors they're not communicating, or they're not joining, or so things like that. We're not measuring that. So I think that I've got the full advantage to measure those things, and so I think that that's very positive if you are able to do that in an organization.
Yes, it really helps you figure out where the problems are, the
Yeah,
bottlenecks. I like that point where you need to measure some things, but then there's other things that you're measuring, so that
exactly.
when you don't hit that, you've got these other things you can lean on.
Yep, exactly.
Oh my gosh, that's how you scale service management right there. Oh, Waseem, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for being on Ticket Volume. Where can people find you and connect to learn more?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn, and sometime I'm around on Clubhouse as well. We've got a Clubhouse for there's a lot of people there. We do topics. I gotta admit that I've been not that active for the last a year or so. I've just been really busy, but I'm thinking of starting back again. I've got few really good dear friend of mine which have been on your show as well. So yeah, I mean, we already connected. So it was great to connect with them, and we're starting to have I think some cadence there. So we're gonna do so. Yeah, Clubhouse is one area, and LinkedIn is absolutely, just search me up and I'm there. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Thanks for being a part of the community. Thanks for being on Ticket Volume.
Well, I appreciate it, and thank you for inviting me to the show. And this was really a pleasure talking to you on that.
Likewise, my friend. And to our audience, thanks for listening to Ticket Volume. You can change and improve this podcast by DMing me or leaving a comment below. Speaking of Ticket Volume, did you know that this podcast is brought to you by Invigate, the all-in-one IT service and asset management system that helps organizations with world-class IT support? If you're looking to build a solution to help your help desk without the headaches and without the headaches of year-long implementations, you are going to love Invigate. In fact, IT teams from Toyota, NASA, and McDonald's use Invigate to manage requests, automate workflows, and centralize inventory data so that they can focus on delivering better service, because good service is good business.